I was with my mom on, I believe it was April 18th, and we were together that evening in an event, having a great night, and we were driving home. She was taking me back to my apartment, and all of a sudden she went unconscious, and I wasn't really sure what was going on, but she was unresponsive to me, and she was doing these gasps for air every so often, and I knew something was wrong.
I just don't have any recall of any of that. I don't remember it. What Andrea says is that as we got off the exit, she thought I had fallen asleep, and then she thought I was joking around maybe.
This whole time we were still driving, and she was actually driving, and I had to stop the car and get us pulled over to the side of the road. When I finally was able to stop the vehicle, I called my boyfriend because we were about a minute away from him.
She didn't really explain over the phone. She was kind of hysterical, saying something's wrong with her mom, and she's at like 31st Street. So I immediately jump out of bed, get in my car, and drive there.
I get off the phone with him, and he's on his way to come to the scene where we were at, and I call my dad.
It took me about a split second to understand there was something wrong, terribly wrong. And within about a 20-second phone call, understood enough that I needed to get somewhere between me about a mile away from where they were, pulled off to the side, and that there was something wrong with my wife.
As I'm telling him, something's wrong, he says, call 911. So I get off the phone with him, he's on his way, and I call 911, and we're waiting. I'm just waiting for somebody to show up because at this point, my mom is so unresponsive and I have no idea what's going on. Brandon arrived first and started checking my mom's vitals to see what was going on. I think he even took the phone away from me at one point because I was pretty hysterical.
I did grab the phone from her to kind of start talking to them to see really what to do. They told me to check for pulse. I couldn't find one. And then they said that we need to get her out of the car. And luckily, Bill just had pulled up.
I heard Andrea say she was on with 911, said just get her out of the car laying down. So her and Brandon and I tried to pull her out of the car, and so we were able to get her just out of the seat and straight down, and Brandon immediately kicked in and started doing CPR, which was just that to me was just the greatest thing that was happening right then.
He continues to do this until EMS arrives, and then they came and took over and had to shock her and revive her once on the scene and get her heart rate back to normal, to a normal rhythm. And then from there, they were able to get her to the hospital and into the ER.
When they arrived in the emergency room, I believe that she did have a second cardiac arrest. Again, she was defibrillated, and from then she was taken to the cardiac cath lab, where she underwent a coronary angiogram with a stent placement.
And that was when we realized she went into cardiac arrest and was going through a heart attack.
From the cath lab, she was taken to our critical care unit, where we put her in a hypothermia protocol, meaning we cool the body temperature down to 32 to 30 degrees Celsius for a 24-hour period, just to improve neurological outcomes. So what the family did for this patient with the bystander CPR was allowed the fire department to assist them and get her to our facility to receive the appropriate care that was needed. She's now back a month later after the event. She's returned to work, she's driving, she's involved in her children's sporting activities at school, and she's living a normal life again.
I feel such appreciation to have my mom here today, which is very cool because we didn't know if we were gonna have her. So to get to have her is such an amazing blessing. And it's very surreal. I think we're still, even months later, kind of grasping what we went through as a family. But we're very appreciative, and every day now I get to work on a better relationship with my family, and that is amazing to kind of get to see life now in a different perspective and get to appreciate my family so much more than I ever did.